Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Traveling Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history, with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. Today I'm at the Old North Church in Boston, 1723. This is the oldest church in Boston, and it's got a quite interesting history. It was built to show British authority to the colonies. It was an Anglican church, which is the Anglicanism is the said that wrong. Said it's a tongue twister, I guess. Was the official religion of the English, whereas here the colonies, right? They're more like Puritans. They got Puritanism. So you got the English religion mixed in with the colony religion, or the colonist religion, right here in this Old North Church. You can imagine sometimes I could maybe get a little bit uncomfortable, but it's going to get worse. We're going to have the loyalists are going to be mixing with the patriots here as well. All right? No doubt about it. And there's going to be a hierarchy here, and it's going to represent kind of the fractured colonial times of what's happening there, right? You're going to have the rich sitting in the English bloodlines, I guess. The more elite rich ones are going to be sitting in the pews closest to the altar, right? And it's going to be stratified, right? Rich up there, you're going to have like the indentured servants, you're going to have the blacks, and you're going to have children under 12 going to be sitting up in the second floor balcony there. That's where they're going to be. All right, so definitely is stratified. There definitely is some things going on there. All right, so one of the most famous people, the churchgoers here, is actually not even a member, and that is Paul Revere. Right, he's not even a member, but he's one of the bell ringers. If you look up there, one of the bell ringers, and at this Old North Church, he actually founded the Bell Ringers Guild and spent a lot of time perfecting a thing called change ringing. All right, now change ringing is some sort of mathematical puzzle where you ring the bells in a certain way where they never ring twice the same way. All right, and I guess Paul Revere and his buddies were really good at that and spent a lot of time in this church and up there in the steeple, seeing how high it was, and learned every inch of this church. And that's going to come in handy later on when we're marching toward war with the English. All right. Now he's got this guy Robert Newman, and he's on Paul Revere's team. And Robert Newman's job is when he gets the signal, right, when the British are marching on Lexington and Concord to come and take the gunpowder and the weapons and kill some of the leaders of the colonists, to shut them down, shut down the rebellion. He's to climb up to the top of the steeple there and very, very briefly put up one lantern if the British are going by land, or two lanterns if the British are going by sea. But it had to be brief. It was only enough so that the people, the colonists across the waterway could see and be alerted just in case Paul Revere and the others didn't make it. That's right, it was a backup plan. The one by land, two by sea lanterns were a backup plan in case Paul Revere gets arrested, the others get arrested, and they can't get the message across to the other colonists about the British going to Lexington and Concord to get the gunpowder, the weapons, killing the leaders, all that stuff, right? So again, it was a backup plan. And Paul Revere did get stopped and did get retained, but he managed to talk his way out of it, right? And now it's, the famous midnight ride, and we know all the one by land, two by sea sort of thing, right? And as they're all yelling, the regulars are coming, the regulars are coming. You're probably saying, what, don't you mean the British are coming, the British are coming? Well, that's what everybody says, right? The British are coming, the British are coming. But in all actuality, it probably didn't happen that way, right? Because everybody here was British descent, pretty much. So it was the regulars are coming, not the British are coming. All right. So all of this eventually is going to be kind of sort of forgotten, right? Paul Revere, the Old North Church, the role they played in American independence, going to kind of be forgotten, but there's going to come along a guy named Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He's going to write a poem called The Midnight Ride, which is going to make Paul Revere in this Old North Church absolutely famous, right? Super famous and part of America's history, right? Now, sadly, the steeple got knocked down a couple of times in bad storms. I think 1804 was one. 1954 was another one where it got knocked down. But it was fixed, right? They did some fundraising or whatever. Steeple was replaced. And today, this is pretty much like a national pilgrimage, is this place. Now, something really interesting a lot of people don't know is that there's a crypt underneath this Old North Church, right? They've got over 1,000 like crypts, bodies down there. And they said back in the day when it was like really hot, some of the churchgoers could actually smell those 1,000 crypts during Mass. Imagine that, right? So today, this church has been preserved, right? It's been taken care of. The actual lanterns, one by land, two by sea, are actually gone, right? They're not here anymore, but they have been replaced by replicas. So that's definitely a pretty cool thing. Now, you know, when I do my traveling time with Dan Show, I love to mix travel, history, with leadership and all that. And again, Boston's one of the world's great cities. So if you've like not been down here, you gotta get down here and check this place out, right? I mean, heck, look, it even has a gift shop here, right? But there's just so much to see Boston as a tourist, so much to see as somebody who wants to check out the history of it. You definitely want to come down. I've just shared a bunch of the history with you. So what's the leadership lesson? The leadership lesson is, you ready for this? Leadership lesson is, leaders often depend on preparation before the crisis. What happens when leaders fail to prepare backup plans, right? What if they didn't have a backup plan and Paul Revere was not able to talk his way out of being detained by the British authorities? Right? Well, what would have happened then, right? Got to have a backup plan. Leaders know this because things never go perfect, right? You got to have that. Well, anyways, everybody, thank you for spending some time with me today on the Travel on Time with Dan Show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. And I'll be back real soon with another really cool episode somewhere else. And until then, take care of yourself.